Welcome to this video. This is about the round 10 game of the candidates tournament between Karjakin and Andreikin. Quickly summing up both players standing in the tournament before the game. Karjakin is now on 50% after 2 wins. He's really coming back from the dead here, and is in a way one of the more dangerous players for Anand's chances, simply because he simply plays Anand later in the tournament. And yeah, he has the momentum at least, and Andreikin is on -1. Okay, let's see. We get a Siclian, and again this Taimanov move order. Karjakin knight c3, now a6. Yeah, I looked this up. Andreikin had only played this twice in his career, this opening, and it's been years ago, so not something that would be high on Karjakin's list in terms of what to prepare for the specific game. He now came up with an absolute sideline. Took on c6, which is not a sideline. It's one of the options that white has, but after this he played the move queen to d3, which looks a bit odd at first, bringing the queen out so early, but it turned out, to my surprise, that this is played, well, not very often, but this has been played by Karjakin earlier in more than one game actually. And we see later how this earlier games relate to this one. Yeah, what is the idea of queen d3? Yeah, one idea is that white is getting the queen over to the king side, where it fulfills quite a useful role, pressurizing g7, for example, and yeah, can be threatening to black's king in the long run. This capture on c6, by the way, is only very rarely a good idea in the Sicilian. If you look at this, it is normally believed that the capture is strengthening black's center, and therefore should be avoided. However, in this specific case, black has played the move a7, a6, which in this ensuing structure with the capture and b takes c, which is almost a lost tempo. Black really does not want to play a6 in the structure, but he has to, or he has done so before, and only after that white took here. One reason why this is a viable line is also that white gets a very quick development. The normal move instead of queen d3 is actually bishop d3, and very often it's quick castles, queen f3, b3, bishop b2, very quick development. And quite interesting play. Very often black plays d5 later, and white moves the knight and plays c4 against that, attacking the center. It's actually quite a good line for white. Not like brilliant, but very much playable. Yeah, well, this is interesting as well. And Andreikin played queen to c7, which is almost directly geared to fight the queen g3 idea, and he played this quickly. Yeah, queen g3 anyway. Otherwise it does not really make much sense, this queen d3 move. Yeah, black must capture. Yeah, yeah, this is giving away g7, so you basically need to capture. And now he went for d5. Yeah, so what to say about this endgame? Is this isn't this a very toothless way to play as white? Yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, there are certainly more aggressive ways to play with the white pieces, but the white position is maybe very slightly more comfortable, because you have some scope for your rook. This double pawn is not a disadvantage, of course. It's just helping white to get the rook activated immediately. And very often this double g pawn means that you can actually use this pawn, and we see this immediately. Karjakin is playing g4. Yeah, what is the purpose? G4 intends to kick a knight that will appear on f6, or would appear on f6. It didn't right now. Let's say knight f6, just for argument's sake. Then you can very much consider g5, yeah, like that. Here even rook h4, which shows very nicely why this formation with the double pawn and the open h-file can be an interesting way to play. White will get this back. Just for argument's sake, let's put moves on the board to illustrate my point. Here you can easily imagine the rook coming over to a4, putting pressure on a6. White is really slightly better here. So this is why knight f6 was avoided. He played rook b8, which seems like a really good move. It keeps an eye on the b2 pawn and makes it difficult for white to develop the queen side. g5, yeah, quite logical, keeping those squares under control. So knight f6 cannot be played easily. Yeah, here I was this point I was entering the live broadcast and watching a bit of that, and it was quite funny to to see that in this position here they have a commentating duo of Grandmaster Victoria Smelite, very strong female player. She's been on 2500 for a very long time. And the male commentator is Peter Heine Nielsen, very strong GM from Denmark, somewhere around 2650 GM, and they're married, they're a couple. So very unique situation, and it was quite funny that Victoria here suggested the move f6, and you could visibly see in the picture that Peter Heine Nielsen was thinking that this is not a good move, but he couldn't really tell the wife, okay, that's not a good move. And he very politely said, I don't really think this is, no, not really. And well, I sort of agreed. It looked a bit strange to me to play f6 here. And well, of course, just quickly afterwards, Andreikin was playing f6, which was quite funny. And it's an okay move. I mean, only my initial idea was then why would you play f6 here, but it's in fact I think a good idea. This g5 pawn is quite an annoyance, and getting rid of it is makes some sense. Yeah, and white basically must take. There is not much else. If you consider if black takes, this would hang the b2 pawn. So let's say, for argument's sake, this kind of thing, well, maybe you could make this work tactically, but why would you give up the pawn? This does not make much sense. So he took, and now knight f6. Yeah, and this has at least helped black a bit with developing. Yeah, and now in this position we see a novelty. Yes, this has been played before, that in a game Karjakin, yeah, note, against Mamedyarov. So there is a history of this line. In this game from 2009, he had played bishop to d3. Certainly a sensible looking move. Here he went for e5, which is maybe a bit more testing for black. Hard to tell, but it grabs space. And yeah, it leads to a really complicated type of position. f4, and now Andreikin played knight to c5. Yeah, this is certainly a good plan. I mean, the plan associated with that you will see in a couple of moves. It's interesting to see that the computer here suggests the very aggressive move g5. And in fact, this is an idea. It's not out of this world. What I find remarkable, though, that the computer, even after g3, yeah, of course, this is the basic idea. You would love to get the central pawn. After g3, which is probably the best move, the computer even wants to push with h5 intending h4, which looks somewhat crazy to me. But it's maybe playable. I mean, why not? It's not like the black king is in big danger here or anything. You are far away from being attacked, and why not attack the pawn chain? And this probably was a valid way to play. But knight c5 is also very logical if you look at what happens afterwards. Yeah, b3. Oh no, first rook h3. I'm sorry. Certainly also a good move to activate on the third rank, giving this rook some scope. a5, b3. Yeah, you need to do this at some stage. And then bishop a6. This was the idea behind the knight c5 move. He wanted to go knight c5, a5, bishop a6, get rid of this problematic c8 bishop. And this is certainly a strategically well-founded decision. Yeah, white exchanged. And now put a knight on a4. Yeah, white to a4. Yeah, this has multiple ideas. White wants to attack the a5 pawn mostly. This is the main reason. And if a knight comes to c5, you're ready to take it. Yeah, this was now played by Andreikin. And I'm not 100% sure if this is such a great idea, but I'm not sure what he should do actually. Maybe a slow move, like let's say bishop knight c5 actually is also something that you could try. That's the keep it simple approach to just exchange here. What is always a slight concern for black in this type of position is that the a pawn could become weak. Yeah, it can easily be attacked by the bishop, and yeah, it's slightly uncomfortable. Not like great problems, but this is one of the points that white can still play for. In fact, after rook b4, here Karjakin played immediately bishop d2 to get pressure on the pawn. Here I think he could have tried a3, and I think this would have been slightly more testing, and also it contains a little trap. Of course, relatively easy to see trap, I admit that. Now rook e4 check. This is a bit of a pseudo-active move. White just plays here, and now he threatens knight c3 and winning in exchange. Like that, and the rook is trapped. It's actually already trapped here. You cannot save it anymore unless you play the really hideous move d4, just terrible. White goes knight b2 and comes to this fantastic squares, which is strategically really terrible. I mean, a5 is weak, everything's weak, and this rook is still in a funny place. So, okay, as mentioned, it's easy to see that rook e4 is rubbish. So black must probably return here, and now bishop to d2. Yeah, and this is very comparable to the game. Only difference is that here the rook is passive, not on e4, and black was not able to get the bishop out. In the game, let's look at this. Check, and now he got in bishop to b4. White does not want to trade. Went c3, and now bishop to a3. Yeah, rook e1, getting rid of this active rook, and castles. Yeah, not sure about castles really. Again, there was the opportunity to get stuff exchanged. Maybe this was an easier defense. I'm not 100% sure. Castles, king e2, and h6. Yeah, and now we come to something that I don't really understand. I'm quite frank here with you. Rook g3 was now played. King to f7. Rook h3. King g6.
Check.
Yeah.
Check.
This was really played, and now draw. And I don't really understand this. Why isn't white playing on here? I mean, I understand that white is not having a fantastically great advantage, but white certainly has somewhat of a slight advantage, simply because of better space, with e5 and f4 being played. a5 is a potential weakness. And, well, you have ways to continue. There's no need really to draw here. If you look at this, I mean, here, at any point, basically, you can play, let's say, g3, you can play g4, and then simply play on and try to make something out of that. But it didn't happen. They just agreed to a draw, which from Andreikin's perspective, I can actually understand. He's got black and, well, he's got -1, not really like he's in big contention in this tournament. While Karjakin has just won 2 games and really has chances still, even being on 50%. It's very easy if you look at this game. If you want to imagine a scenario for him how he can qualify, this is very easy. He just needs to win this game, which he didn't even try at the end, and then he needs to beat Anand with white. I mean, not so easy, but this is all right. That's it. Then he would go into +2. Anand loses 1. He would have the better tiebreak due to the win in the individual game. So it's not like he needs a win. He needs 1 win besides the game against Anand, which he, if he wants to qualify, has to win anyway. Not that it is easy or anything, but, well, you need to do something in order to earn the spot. And so I don't really understand why he didn't continue. I don't really see any losing chances for white, and you can just play on without any particular risk or anything. Well, I'm not sure. I didn't see the post-game press conference, so maybe there was some explanation for that. Well, objectively speaking, white is certainly not much better, but still, I can guarantee you, if you would set up a theme tournament with this position, and you give Magnus Carlsen the white pieces and Andreikin the black pieces, Andreikin wouldn't score so many points from that. This would be an easy 7-3 win or 7.5 win, and I'm really sure about that. You just need to grind on and set problems, and if you give those positions just allow a draw, then I don't really know what the point is. He needs to win 1 more game, and this is as good a chance as any. So I'm not really sure what the rationale was behind allowing this draw here. Well, I'm not saying white is great, but why not just continue? You can really easily do that. As mentioned, g4, you can try to get the rook over and play c4 and whatever. There are some ideas to do, and really there is no risk. It's not like I would understand if there was some direct risk involved, because a loss, on the other hand, would be very hard to compensate. But how are you going to lose this position as white? I really don't see it. Okay, I don't know. You never know or you very often don't know what the background of some of those games is. Maybe he was just feeling bad from a health perspective or whatever. You never know. But if there isn't anything special going on in the background, I really don't understand why this game wasn't continued from the white player. All right, I hope you still enjoyed the coverage. Thanks for watching.